Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Network 216 production of the Faithful Dogs podcast. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Mr. Jack Robinson and Eddie McDonald. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Fantastic, man. How you doing?
You know, I'm doing all right. I wish it wasn't so cold because I'm not a fan of the winter unless there's a little bit of snow. But other than that, can't really complain.
I'm also fantastic. The Browns are going to the playoffs. I don't have to worry about NFL football this weekend. I'll watch it, obviously, because that's what I do every week. I don't have to worry about anything. The Browns are in. They're going to play whoever emerges victorious in the AFC South, who we beat every team in that division. I'm feeling good, and I think that Jeff Driscoll, his era for one game, will shine against the Bengals. And it's hard to say, but I don't even care about the game really because we have everything close. Everything's good. Like this game is like. Someone said I think it was Randy Gurzy. I was reading an article of his. It's like basically a bona fide preseason game.
Yeah,
Dude, it is. I mean, that's really all it is, which is it's crazy to think about. Where, of course, we're going to talk about it because we've been off for 2 weeks. So the Browns did make the playoffs. I'm sure that's news to pretty much everyone out there. Clearly, no one knew that the Browns made the playoffs. But of course, before we get to any of that, as a reminder, first video 2024, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are brand new to Network 216 as we are on the push for 3,000 subscribers. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. We recommend you guys do that, especially not only with the NFL playoffs coming up, but in a couple months, we'll be in the NFL offseason. There'll be daily draft videos, daily NFL free agency, NFL trade videos. Want to make sure you don't miss any of that content. And there's a lot of news regarding the Ohio State Buckeyes this offseason with the transfer portal, potentially getting a new quarterback. We have updates only on YouTube. So you guys want to make sure that you do subscribe to the channel for free. Really would appreciate that support. Well, gentlemen, the Browns are in the playoffs, and it's been an absolutely insane road. If I told you guys that at the beginning of the year, Joe Flacco was going to lead the Browns to the playoffs this year, you probably would have looked at me like I was smoking something fancy that you've never heard of before. But put into words just your overall thoughts on how this team got to the playoffs, given all the injuries, given using 4 different quarterbacks, the Browns, against all odds, have made the playoffs.
I mean, I think that the word that everyone would use, and I think even the team and Kevin Stefanski, I think that the main word that they would use is resiliency. It's the way that every single team in the NFL has injuries, and yet the Browns, it seems like this year were the one team who really got bit by the injury bug, and yet you never really saw a massive downturn in productivity and of efficiency and being able to go out there and field a team that can win you football games. I mean, you had DTR winning games, you had PJ Walker winning games, you had Deshaun winning games coming off injury, you had Deshaun winning games while he was still injured. You obviously have Joe Flacco coming in and winning games. Just the fact that you can have a team that just, 6 years ago was 0-16, 1-15. And then, a couple just last year was well below 500 at the bottom of the division. And now you have a team that is capable of taking hits, losing guys for the whole season, early in the season, and basically early and often every single week, it seemed like we were losing players, and to still be able to come out with great defensive productivity, have an offense that's functional despite the fact that you have constantly different people at the quarterback position, offensive linemen going out like on a weekly basis. And yet you're still able to field a team that is 11-5 going to the playoffs and has 1 week left and they don't even have to play anybody. I mean, what is that other than resiliency?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Dolphins, just talked about the Browns recently and said everyone was worried about what they were going to do next except for them. And that's that resiliency you talk about. And another word that comes to my mind is togetherness. No matter who is out there, the offensive line has had hit after hit after hit from week 1 on. And then we have this rookie come in. He's fantastic. Oh, he's gone too. And then your left tackle's out who, started turning around a little bit. And, I know is not a big fan favorite, but that's a big piece to lose. And then here, all these different makeshift offensive lines. Then we finally have one. The running game didn't take like a drastic hit like many thought. Now we air the ball out more with Joe Flacco, but that togetherness. everyone wants to play for each other. The past few years, we've seen egos, and we've seen finger pointing, and we've seen diva behavior from different players, and they're no longer here. The culture has shifted completely, and that togetherness, because of Kevin Stefanski, you know, every time, team on 3, 1, 2, 3, boom. And then you can see the excitement in the guy's eyes after every post-game speech. We've seen 11 of them. We've seen Kevin Stefanski in the locker room 11 times this year address his team after a win. And what he said something last week before the Jets game, good teams go out and win on Sunday and then go back out and win on Thursday. And they did that. They clinched the playoffs. And the fact that when that final second ticked off that clock, and then especially getting to hear the Jim Donovan version afterwards, that was the most magical feeling, even more so than 2020 and then in the 2021 making the playoffs and then beating the Steelers, because everyone and their brother was picking the Browns to finish last this year. They said, yeah, we don't care. All right, hey, guys, you're going to lose all these key players. All right, cool. We still don't care. We're still going to go do our thing. And it's just that togetherness.
It's just remarkable. Again, I mean, you have the biggest, I mean, it's complete resilience, no doubt. But then you just bring in the story that is Joe Flacco, from a guy that was 2.5 months ago on his couch watching NFL games with his family, to leading this team to the playoffs. It's an absolute fairy tale type of a story. I mean,
and he thought
you could write, huh?
And he thought he was done.
Yeah, he was. I guess the thing that like really just blows my mind, I know if you're the Jets owner, what makes you not want to fire every single person in that organization that basically said, nah, we're good. Joe Flacco, he doesn't have it anymore. Because that right there is what should be more embarrassing than anything else, is the fact the Jets are in the same situation as the Browns. And Joe Flacco called the Jets, and the Jets told him no thanks. That to me is just, it stuns me, because Joe Flacco has been fantastic this year. Joe Flacco is, I mean, there are other reasons. Joe Flacco is the reason this team has a chance to win the Super Bowl. Because without Joe Flacco, no offense to PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you're not getting there. You're not. But right now, because of these guys, you have the opportunity to get there. So it's just remarkable. I think, too, it just goes to show, you talk about next man up mentality. Ronnie Hickman, undrafted free agent, has been phenomenal this season for the Browns. You bring in Duron Harmon, who you've signed off the street. Today they signed Rogers Stafford, I believe his name is, Pro Bowl guard. He's got a ton of experience. You're bringing in guys that are veterans. I mean, what about the job Andrew Berry's done? You talk about Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year. Do you guys think Andrew Berry should be the NFL Executive of the Year as well?
I think he has a very good case. Just being able to manage a roster where you have, you know, I think the number's up to like 29%. I think somebody said it's between like 26 and 30%. It's something crazy. 30%, like just for a high end, 30% of your caps on IR. You're still able to field a team that is one of the top 2 defenses in the league. You have currently the most efficient and highest powered offense in the league. You're averaging the most yards. Your run game looks like it's actually, you know, doing better than it was earlier. You have Kareem Hunt come off the street, and he has like 9 touchdowns, which is a career high for him. You have obviously all these guards rotating in. You have safeties rotating in. You have just defensive players, offensive players. You have players all over the place that are all coming in and taking meaningful snaps and are playing good football. And the fact that you can do that, despite the fact that obviously your top paid quarterback is out, your top paid running back is out, you have multiple key injuries to at basically every major position, and yet you're still in the playoffs, and you're still, and I mean, you were in the running for to be number 1 seed in the AFC until, you know, Sunday. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. And I mean, I'm sure that there are a lot of other arguments for some other GMs out there, but I think that Andrew Berry has a very strong case just because of what he's had to kind of get over, the limitations of the cap, the limitations of the roster, and just how he's been able to maximize the talent that is available to him, and also taking guys who I think a lot of people didn't think could be you know, real difference makers, and turning them into difference makers on this team.
Yeah, I wrote about this for Dog Pound Daily, why he should be at least the heavy favorite for executive of the year. And if that's the case, then the Browns should take home a lot of hardware from the NFL this season, and hopefully at the end, the ultimate hardware, the Lombardi Trophy. But obviously, we have to get through the regular season. And the way he's constructed this team, so I listed different reasons. Number one was trading for Dustin Hopkins. A lot of people scoffed at that on social media. A lot of Browns Twitter were like, "Oh, why would we trade a draft pick for a guy who just got beat out in camp?" Well, because that dude's a veteran and can kick anywhere and shown that. And prior to his injury, he was one of the, if not the best kicker in the NFL. He had the most field goals made at the time. I know Brandon Aubrey from Dallas is perfect on the season and also has 8 field goals from 50+ yards. But that's a Browns record. He scored more points than Phil Dawson. He broke Phil Dawson's record for not points, but field goals made in the season. And Phil Dawson is an absolute legend in Cleveland. Everyone loves him. So that's number one. They trade for him. In the kicking game last year, obviously, Cade York couldn't cut it. He's out. Insert Dustin Hopkins, and he was a godsend. And hopefully he's back in 2 weeks for the playoffs, because them being able to rest starters this week, that actually sort of helps him because he missed last week's game against the Jets, gets another full week of rest, and another week after that before the playoffs. Number two is having the wherewithal to go get the veteran in Joe Flacco. All of this time, all this quarterback turmoil, since I was 8 years old when they came back, you guys are younger than me, all this turmoil quarterback from then on, boom. And then this year, all right, cool. We got Deshaun. We're going into the season healthy. We're good. Okay, no, we don't have Deshaun anymore. He started to play well. He started to show why we traded all those assets.
Can't believe we traded Josh Dobbs though, man. I can't believe it.
That's funny because Andrew Berry got criticized for that. And I at first was like, oh man, we should have kept him because he's a veteran. And he went on, had some success, and now I don't know where he's at. I know where he's at, just not I don't see him anymore. But then the trade for Flacco, that has completely changed this entire football team, and it gives them hope. There's never a game now where they're down. I'm just like, oh, man, it's over. Even the Bears game, it seemed like that, but I was like, man, okay, there's something that can happen. And the fourth quarter goes off. And he's been another godsend to this team and has Amari Cooper playing some of his best football. David Njoku is playing the best football of his career over the season, but over the past month or so, he was getting guys like Elijah Moore involved. Hopefully he's healthy for the playoffs. And he just has that veteran leadership, and he's been there before. He's seen this. He's seen the same thing. Great defense, an okay offense if you can get them the ball, and he's a perfect I believe it was Mac the Buffalo wrote for Dog Pound Daily. The play action in Joe Flacco is a marriage made in heaven, and that's all because of Stefanski. And then number three is the revamped defense. Joe Woods, we've all talked about Joe Woods ad nauseum last year. He's out. Jim Schwartz in. Go and get him all sorts of new different pieces. Myles Garrett has been unlocked to a completely different level. And while his box score stats aren't always as high as some in the league, the way he gets to the quarterback and at the rate he does, the pressures he gets, the double and triple teams he gets, and allows his new cast of teammates, the best defensive lines, play with, chances at the quarterback. And we've seen that. And even sometimes when he doesn't get the sack, there was a pick last week because of Myles Garrett. The Ronnie Hickman pick six was because of Myles Garrett being right there.
Have a scheme for him. Every offense has a scheme for him.
And they do scheme for him, and that allows others to, and that's why JOK has thrived. And that's why Grant Delpit was thriving as the blitzing safeties and boom, and linebacker, and boom, here they are at the quarterback. And it's been tremendous. So he is absolutely the executive of the year. And I don't know of any other GM that has done more over the course of the offseason till now than Andrew Berry has.
Yeah, I mean, the big one for me, you can bring up, like, finding DeJuan Jones was huge, even though DeJuan's been out for the year, getting him in the fourth round. The big one for me is Ronnie Hickman. Ronnie Hickman has been absolutely phenomenal. Ohio State, he had moments where you're like, what's this guy doing? Free agent, Andrew Berry signs him, and he has been a seamless fit with this defense. Everybody that Andrew Berry's pretty much brought in has made a really good impact this year. And it's been – from the top down, like, people want to talk about Josh Dobbs all day long. They did at one point. Now that guy's been benched at two different places. Again, I love Dobbs. Like, he's a great person and all that and whatnot, but he wouldn't have gotten us to the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now. So Andrew Berry goes, gets Joe Flacco, a guy off his couch, brings him in for a workout, and they sign him. That right there has gotten the Browns to where they are. So Andrew Berry should be executive of the year. Jim Schwartz should be assistant coach of the year. Kevin Stefanski is coach of the year. And if if the Browns win on Sunday with their fifth quarterback of the year, it's over. It's already over in my opinion anyway. But you can just Kevin Stefanski is your coach of the year. Yeah. Myles Garrett to be Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see. I mean, I think he should get it. A lot of people think Micah Parsons should get it. I mean, so
I think a lot of it might come down to the end of the season. I think that's why a lot of people were asking Kevin, like, "Oh, is Myles going to play?" But at the same time, I believe Kevin when he says that Myles doesn't really care about Defensive Player of the Year right now. I think right now this team is so locked in on one goal, and that is to get to the Super Bowl. That's to win in the playoffs, because I think that they know that they can do that. I think that if this was like another year, maybe where the aspirations of the team were to get as close to the playoffs as they could, or they were still fighting for the playoffs and like Myles needed to play, yeah, I think Defensive Player of the Year would be a thing for him. But I think he sees the big picture. I think Kevin has this whole team locked in. I think that they're like, yeah, individual awards are great. What's better is winning the Super Bowl and being the best team in the world. And I think that that's basically what every guy has bought in. And that's the big thing, is that everyone's bought in to this team. And
absolutely.
And I think that, you can look at around the league and you can say, like Dan Campbell's done a fantastic job with the Lions. You can say, obviously, DeMeco Ryan and the Texans are a great story coming back from their terrible year last year to be a playoff contender. Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, he's been fantastic too. Obviously, losing for their quarterback early in the season, having to rely on Gardner Minshew, and they've been done really well too. I mean, that's going to be a big game this weekend for the AFC South. But I mean, can you really tell me that any coach has made a bigger impact on their team and has gone through more difficulties throughout the season? Yes, Shane Steichen, rookie head coach, loses a quarterback. DeMeco Ryans, he's had some stretches without some of his best players. But we're talking about multiple weeks. Since week 1, we've been losing key components of our team, and yet we've still found ways to succeed. I don't see how. I 100% understand that DeMeco and Shane Steichen and Dan Campbell are all in the conversation, but I don't see how anyone can really argue that it's not Kevin Stefanski this year.
Exactly, for all the reasons you just said. Going to transition here just because the Pro Bowl players have been announced, of course. Just as a reminder, guys, if you would, just take a quick second and drop a like onto the video if you would. Really help Network 216 grow. We have a lot of great content for you guys, especially Browns playoff coverage. But not only that, NFL offseason is fast approaching. So free agency videos, trade videos, NFL draft content. It's going to be coming fast, only on the Network 216 YouTube channel. So make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe if you are brand new to the channel.
Can
I
correct myself real quick?
Yeah.
I was told that I should have said first time Pro Bowler David Njoku when I was hyping him up earlier. So I just want to get that out of the way. I see it in the comments and I see it on my phone now. I just got a text. So first time Pro Bowler David Njoku, and Martin Emerson was Rob. We'll get into that. There you go, Jacob. I got you this time.
So the Pro Bowl announcements have come down. Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, Amari Cooper are going to be starters for the ridiculous Pro Bowl games. And then the Pro Bowl is a joke. Let's just get that out of the way real quick. David Njoku, first-time selection. Denzel Ward as well was selected. And then the Browns had 6 alternates, which included punter Corey Bojorquez, kicker Dustin Hopkins, safety Grant Delpit, linebacker Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah, center Ethan Posick, and guard Wyatt Teller. Can't be really more well represented than that. I mean, you really can't. Like, listen, I get it. Okay, I think Emerson should have been selected too. It's tough, dude, to have 2 corners from one team. That I don't know when that's ever really happened. So it was either going to be Ward or Emerson. I'm not surprised it was Denzel Ward. I mean, Denzel Ward, when he has been on the field for the Browns this year, he takes the defense to – we've seen when Denzel is out, this defense does not look as elite as it normally does when compared to when he's on the field. What are your thoughts from not only the 5 that were selected but also the alternates? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously, I think that every single one of the guys who are a starter are very deserving. I mean, Joel is probably one of the best guards we've ever had. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his name in the Ring of Honor at some point in the future. Myles is Myles. Denzel's Denzel. David Njoku getting it. I mean, I think that just this past month has done so much for his case to be in the Pro Bowl, and obviously now he gets his first selection. I mean, he's just been dominant this whole month, and obviously Amari Cooper's Amari Cooper, so that all makes sense. Yeah, I'm also disappointed that I would have thought that Dustin Hopkins, at least for the AFC, would have been the starter and not a reserve, but you'll take being a reserve. And Grant Delpit making the reserve despite being injured the past 4 weeks. I mean, that just shows just how big of an improvement he's made to still be in consideration for the Pro Bowl, even though he's missed a decent amount of time at the end of the season. So, I mean, yeah, I think just, this just really shows that the Browns really do have a deep roster. They have guys who are recognized around the league for how good they are. And yeah, I mean, just shout out to all those guys, but especially, I got to shout out Joel Bitonio because he's always just the guy that we can rely on at the left guard position.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Every selection is great. We can talk about snubs and all that, and that's the talking point because we as content creators, as writers and podcasters, and just people who tweet a lot, we're gonna say things like that. That's fine and dandy, but that's not the goal. The Pro Bowl, it's not anything close to what it used to be. It used to be fun, and now it's lame. But the recognition of being one of the best players voted by a large sum of people. The campaign's been going on for months now. You see, hey, retweet to get so and so in the Pro Bowl. Well, Browns fans have spoken, and a lot of other people have spoken, and it's good for them. First time Pro Bowler David Njoku is having the season of his life, and we've all been waiting for that from him, right? We've all been like, oh, he's this close, and he's right there. Well, we knew what David Njoku was coming into this, and then he's expanded that a little bit, and especially with Flacco, so he's absolutely deserving. Bitonio, absolutely deserving. Miles he's like we just talked about him for Defensive Player of the Year. Denzel Ward, a lot of people wrote him off a couple different times, some due to injury and some because he wasn't getting all the picks and he wasn't, he'd get beaten coverage every now and then. That's going to happen. The best players ever got beat. Tom Brady got beat a few times in the Super Bowl too. He got beat in the Super Bowl, but all deserving. We can get into snubs and all that, but that doesn't really matter to me. Outside Dustin Hopkins, that one is mind blowing to me because I don't know a kicker in the AFC that I can think of off the top of my head that has had a better season than him, especially when he had all those game-winning kicks within 2 minutes to help the Browns get to 11-5.
Yeah, that one I'm curious about too. I want to see if that has been okay. So AJ Cole made it obviously over Corey Bojorquez.
Oh.
As far as kicker,
what was it, like Jason Sanders or Justin Tucker?
It might have been Justin Tucker.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's
he's missed a few this year.
Yeah,
he has, but you know what the Pro Bowl also is? Okay,
it's a name recognition. It's a popularity.
This is why it's also a joke. It's name recognition.
Yeah, it's name.
Justin Tucker is arguably one of the greatest kickers of all time. So if that guy just doesn't crap his pants and miss 10 field goals in a year, he's going to be in the Pro Bowl every year. That's why the Pro Bowl is a joke. Honestly, it really is. That's why the whole. I've never liked the idea. Okay, I do believe fans need a voice, but when fans become the main reason of who makes certain qualifications, I just think that's wrong. Like, it's the same in baseball and in the NBA All-Star game. Like, you have guys then that in some cases could be bench guys and they're in these games. Or they're like, and then they get that stat for the rest of their life. I've never agreed with having fans. Like, you can make that a component. I just don't think that should be the main determination of who is selected and who isn't. Again, just my opinion on that. Personally.
If it was a good All-Star game, then sure. Like the NBA, I do like how fans get to vote for the All-Stars in the NBA. A lot of it is popular, and that's what we is saying. Is if I was going to the All-Star game, I don't want to see the sixth, 7th, 8th man. I want to see the stars. I want to see LeBron and the same.
Yeah, but it's like half and half, isn't it? It's like half writers, half fans.
Something
like that.
Something. I know the majority of votes come from fans. Yeah, there's different sections of it. It's weird, but if the Pro Bowl actually meant anything, I don't like any of the All-Star games. I used to love them as a kid. As a kid, the Pro Bowl was awesome. The NBA All-Star game was awesome. MLB All-Star, the MLB is still all right because of the home run derby. A little bit weird.
Well, let's be real. That's still who it's for. It's for the kids. It's not really meant to be something taken super seriously.
Yeah, just for fans to go see all the best players all in one field, a court or whatever.
So for those wondering about Emerson, it was Denzel Ward, Jalen Ramsey, Sauce Gardner, and Pat Surtain. I mean
that's Even
I mean, it's elite company, and I mean, but in fairness, MJ also was a lockdown corner this year.
He was.
and
You
he'll
can
make it
I
at some
think
point.
Jalen Ramsey being selected is where, again, the fan vote is too much. Jalen Ramsey didn't play half the year. Okay. That's where I guess I would, but it's so hard to argue with that. With that list of names.
I mean, I just don't think that they weren't going to put two Browns corners in the top 4. That's just what they weren't going to do it. Unfortunately.
although any combination of their 3 corners can rank inside the top 5 in a plethora of different categories.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though.
Fan voting is a third of the NFL voting, according to Mr. Roach. So
no,
because Mr. Roach was on another level on the last time we were on a broadcast. So I'll get Jacob in now because he is bringing up some solid points.
Wide receivers: Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, David Njoku, and Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah.
So Travis better watch out before David steals his girl.
We don't want that. I'm not a Swiftie. I don't want her on my television screen when I'm trying to watch the Browns. If she's there for other games, cool, great. You're dating that dude. You guys are mega stars. We'll have more money in 1 hour than I probably will see in my lifetime. But I don't want that. When I'm watching the Browns game, I want to focus just on Browns. I don't need the camera panning up. Nope. We don't need Mr. Steer Your Girlfriend joking. Nope. Can't have it.
Dude, I was just joking. But that's very true.
Hey, but Amari Cooper, a lot of people said before the season he was not a wide receiver 1. And he has proven that and then some this year. Not as high as catches for his career high, but career high in yards. Had it just set the Browns single game record and the first Browns player ever in the history of the Cleveland Browns from 99 until now. And then all the years prior to that, no Browns player except Amari Cooper has had 1,000 yards in 2 straight seasons. And a lot of people are, he's not wide receiver 1 because he doesn't have speed. What do you need speed for when you have one of the best route trees in the NFL? And you're just there. And now you have a quarterback that's getting you the ball exactly where you need it. So shout out to him because that's elite company too. And a lot of people don't think of Amari Cooper when it comes to elite, but they should. And he has been most of his career.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good point, Eddie. As far as guards, it was Quentin Nelson. Makes a ton of sense. Joe Thuney and Joel Petonio. Again, Wyatt Teller was an alternate there. At center, it was Tyler Lindenbaum, Creed Humphrey. You knew Lindenbaum was going to be a Pro Bowl.
Drafted, a lot of people were down on Tyler Lindenbaum. They were like, I don't know if he fits their scheme.
Well, yeah, it was an odd scheme fit, but you knew Lindenbaum anywhere he went was going to be a stud. Mm-hmm. And then you look at defensive tackles: Chris Jones, Quinn Williams, Justin Madubuike. Of course, the Ravens turned Madubuike into a stud. Defensive ends: Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. And then you look at linebackers: T.J. Watt, Khalil Mack, and Josh Allen. They put T.J. Watt as a linebacker.
That's to sneak him in there.
I don't like that because they always compare Myles and T.J. Watt. And while they're the same draft class and they're just as good as players, you can tell me you can pull 100 people and 50 are probably going to say Watt, 50 are probably going to say Myles Garrett, depending on where you're at. But the fact that they've moved him to linebacker for this, it's never a comparison of Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. It's never a fair comparison because Watt is that linebacker. He's lined up different ways. Myles Garrett's predominantly on the edge. Sometimes they move him over in the line. So a couple of times he was the linebacker and rushed the passer. But I don't like that argument because there's been a lot of people lately that have been talking about it. There was a post going around last week. Most people would take Myles Garrett on their team over TJ Watt. And I agree.
Yeah. No, you absolutely. TJ Watt doesn't go up against the level of double teams or competition that Myles Garrett has.
Correct.
That's all I got to say on that. And then what was the other linebacker? Oh, inside linebacker, 2 Ravens, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. That's why JOK did not get voted as a starter, it appears. And then we talked about corner already. At safety, it was Minkah Fitzpatrick, Justin Simmons, and Kyle Hamilton from the Ravens. So Grant Delpit, maybe if he doesn't get hurt, he gets voted a starter. We don't really know. And then on return specialist, Rashid Shaheed from the Saints, Marvin Mims Jr. makes a lot. Those both make a lot of sense. And then just some other random special teams guys. So those are.
Is Pierre Strong is one of those alternate special teamers?
He is not.
Because he should be, because he is all over the ball every time that you watch a kickoff from the Browns. Pierre Strong is the guy that's either right there to make the initial contact or making the tackle.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how many they do for special teams, like specialists, though. I know they do it for kickers and whatnot. I'm not sure how they do it for like other positions. Yeah, it doesn't have him listed here.
Not that I know much about other special teams players in the league either. I just know Pierre Strong because every time I watch the Browns, he's there, and everyone's like, "Oh, he should get more touches in the run game." Well, and not really, because he's doing his thing on special teams where they need him the most. So
the guy I looked up Patriots real quick because I know Matthew Slater has made it like almost every single year. It's a special team guy. I don't think the Patriots had a single player in the Pro Bowl. That's nuts. That's really nuts to hear. But that's, I mean, of course, that's the Pro Bowl. And like I said, congrats to those Browns players that got in. Emerson, yeah. I mean, he should have at least been an alternate. I agree. The reality is kind of like you said, they weren't. I mean, Jack, they weren't going to put two Browns corners. I mean, they did it with inside linebackers. And to be fair, there are not, like, in the AFC, there are not a ton of elite inside linebackers. So the two Ravens getting selected doesn't really surprise me as much as that is really annoying. But anyways, guys, anything else you guys want to add? Obviously, next week we'll know who the Browns are going to end up playing in the playoffs, so we'll be actually able to talk about that a little bit more since this week we're basically playing a preseason game.
Well, just a question, like who do you guys want? Who do you guys want coming out of the AFC South?
I want the Jags because my buddy that I play darts with and watch football with every Thursday, which we're just gonna play darts and no football tomorrow. He's a Jags fan, and we beat them earlier this year, and he was riding high when they were, whatever they were, 6-3, 7-3, 8-3, whatever they were. They've come down to. I want them just for that. I don't care which team it is, honestly. Like outside of that factor, it doesn't matter to me because we've proven we can beat all of them. It will be interesting the Texans with Stroud and not Case Keenum, but I do think the Browns are just too talented across the board for any one of these three teams. So whoever it is, they have to figure that out while we're just like, okay, let's kick our feet up and Jeff Driscoll go out there and throw the football for us a few times, and we're just going to be heading to one of the AFC South locations. So personally, I want it to be the Jaguars. I'd like to see it be the Texans just because I want to see Stroud in the playoffs in his first year as an Ohio State fan. Other than that, I have no real preference. Whoever it is, it is.
For me, it was Jacksonville, but with Christian Kirk possibly returning, if Trevor Lawrence is able to get healthier, that one worries me a little bit more going to Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. I think I'd still probably pick Jacksonville, though, because we have beaten them. As funny as it sounds, I don't necessarily want to see Indy, given how that whole thing went down. And I think Shane Steichen figured out this Browns defense pretty well. And I don't want to see that again, personally. I think Joe Flacco can win that game, but I much rather go to Jacksonville. I think Houston worries me because I think CJ Stroud is just good. And the Browns have not seen him yet. So that's the other factor into that. I mean, they have not played him to this point. So I would say I want to play Jacksonville. That's where I'm at least.
Yeah, I'm split. I think I'm leaning towards Jacksonville just because, you have Trevor Lawrence who's been injured the last couple of weeks. Obviously, how healthy is he going to be going into the playoffs? Like, he's been kind of nursing that high ankle sprain. I think he had a hand injury, a shoulder injury. I mean, he's just beaten up, and that defense is definitely vulnerable to being taken advantage of in the air, and as we saw when they were in Cleveland. But at the same time, I think that could we see Amari Cooper go for 300 against the Texans? Maybe. But kind of like what you said, Tyler, like you just don't know what kind of performance you would get from CJ Stroud, and especially after not getting to play him a couple weeks ago, probably would rather go with the devil rather than the devil you don't with Trevor Lawrence. So I agree, probably be hoping for a matchup with Jacksonville.
Yep, absolutely. Well, as we're wrapping things up, it's crazy, guys. Christmas is already passed, but I know that one thing that never stops, though, Homage is continuously putting out just endless shirts, including a recent Denzel Ward tee. But Jack, I have to say, man, as we're going into 2024, what are you most looking forward to from Homage, especially with this Browns playoff run coming up?
Well, I'm looking forward to them doing obviously more crossovers with the Browns, specific to maybe their playoff run. I'm sure they're probably cooking something up in the lab right now. I'm waiting to see what kind of new designs they come out with, because obviously they're coming out with designs all the time. Obviously, I'm wearing the actual Denzel Ward shirt. It's actually a great shirt to buy if you want to help. Obviously, not be a Browns fan, but support Denzel Ward's charity and his mission to. It's the May I, They Know Your Name mission. It's a really good thing for if you want to support Denzel Ward and Homage. Obviously, it's a great just shirt to buy for that. But additionally, the thing is that obviously, yeah, the holiday season is over. But the thing is that if you're like me, it's New Year's, so you have to have New Year's resolutions. And one of my resolutions is that I'm trying to get rid of all my old clothes. I'm trying to get rid of all the stuff in my closet that I don't wear anymore. And it's really easy to do that when I can just go to Homage and buy a bunch of cool clothes to just fill up all my drawers again. So if you're like me and you want to have a good, a good New Year's resolution, one thing you should do, go and clean out all your drawers, clean out all your closets, get all the stuff that you don't wear anymore. Come on, guys, you're not a medium anymore. That was from like middle school. Clean it out, get it out of here. Go on Homage and you can find all the best clothing that you could ever want. You can get it for all your favorite teams, whether it's the Browns when they eventually make some sort of playoff crossover, the Cavs, the Guardians. And again, even if you went to the game on Thursday night, you saw they had another crossover in the Brown shop. They keep doing it because they know that it's high quality stuff. And they have in all different styles. Their t-shirts, their long sleeves, their pullovers, their hoodies. So no matter what the design is, whether it's pop culture, some sort of like local reference, TV shows, or just again sports, like obviously we talk about all day and all night every single day of the year. They're going to have it in any of their awesome designs, in their awesome quality clothing that's all super comfortable, super high quality. We're all wearing it here on the show. We love our Homage stuff. So if you want to either support your team, support a good cause, or just want to have really comfortable clothes to wear and you want to get rid of all your old stuff, then use our link, buy stuff from Homage. It's great quality apparel to support your team, support your city, and to support us here at Network 216.
That was brilliant.
Dude, it's 2024 and you just never lose it, man.
Wait, speaking of Homage, every week for Darts League, I wear it underneath my jersey that we have. So a lot of people have like darts jerseys. We have baseball jerseys that are our dart jerseys, and Homage shirt every week. I cannot throw without one. So shout out to them. The Denzel Ward shirt is sweet. Got mine the other day in the mail.
It's a good luck shirt.
It is a good luck. That might be my shirt for the rest of the season, honestly. We won last night, the first game of the new year. We took care of business in Darts League. So I'm going to keep that going with the Browns. They beat the Bengals Sunday. They beat whatever AFC South team emerges is Saturday, Sunday of the following week. Maybe Monday. Maybe they'll get the Monday night game. I doubt it. But Dog Chug 10 p.m.
Yep, you already covered it. I was going to say, tune into the Dog Chug tonight on the Network 216 YouTube channel at 10 o'clock tonight. You want to make sure you don't miss it. They have all the laughs that you need to get 2024 started off right. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Faithful Dogs podcast. We will talk to you guys all again soon. And as always, go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Jake Browning isn't as good as our fifth quarterback.